this video, I want to invite you to be a really strong demand for your clients working with you now. What I'm noticing over here is that the clients who come to me mostly have already figured out that they're ready to make this step. That's why they're reaching out to me in the first place. They're already ready to work with me. I just simply need to guide them through sort of an affirming process of their knowing so that they can make sure that this level of commitment is, it's scary. And so they want to make sure that they're not being totally crazy making this big investment and making this big commitment. The stuff that we're studying right now in the boot camp is really a level of sales mastery to guide people that are a little more uncertain through, I would say, like the deeper waters of their subconscious, to help them move forward through their insecurities and fears. And there's a certain level of mastery that you can really help navigate those people. And that's a lot of what we're studying. But what I want to propose is that you don't need to have this, perfect mastery of the enrollment process before navigating your people to you. And I want to invite you here today to really take a stronger stand in being a demand for those clients that are here to work with you, finding their way to you today. This idea came to me in a couple of ways. One was on the walk, but I sort of want the idea of inviting you to this came through a walk. And then I was with my son yesterday morning, and he was being a demand for the Aquaman's outfit that I somehow promised. I don't remember promising him that he could get. We watched Aquaman the night before. He loved the outfit at the end where he's all, I also love Aquaman because he's so hot. But in that outfit, he asked me, "Hey Mom, I want that outfit. Can I have it?" And I probably said, "Oh yeah, sure." The next morning, "Where's my outfit, Mom?" And he was a strong demand. And I just sort of smiled and I thought, that's what we need to take on here. Because you see, 4-year-olds, they don't have a lot of that insecure chatter going on. When they want something, they want it and they want it now. We're also planning a trip to Costa Rica for Christmas, and we were showing him the pictures last night, and he's getting upset this morning that we're not going today, right? And so I actually want to invite you to activate your 4-year-old, your inner 4-year-old, and be that level of a demand for your clients coming to you. As adults, we do have more of that insecure chatter, and that's the number one thing that interferes with our knowing, being able to inform us of the next right step in creating clients and in creating whatever solution to any problem in life or business. And so I want to offer you the practice of really developing and honing 3 specific skills that will help you really handle the chatter and solve problems in a way that are able to turn any problem in life and business really into gold. You see, because humans tend to do really well when they're up against a challenge if they don't get in their way. And so these 3 skills are the things that I want to offer you to really take on a lifelong study of how to develop more and more mastery with these 3 skills. The more that you develop mastery with these 3 skills, then every single problem that you're up against is going to be, you see what happens when we don't get in our way. As humans, we all have access to innate intelligence. And in the moments when we're up against a problem, that is when innate intelligence will bring us fresh, creative, adaptive thinking relevant to the problem. Things will occur to us if we don't have that chatter that's interfering with that line of communication. So the first skill is to really take that chatter that is, that insecure thinking of I'm not good enough, comparing ourselves to others, worrying about this and worrying about that and all the stuff it says about us, is to let it be sort of background noise. So years ago, I used to live downtown Salt Lake City, and I had this cute little bungalow, and I thought how quiet the house was because although it was downtown, it was like in this courtyard and it was nice and quiet, and I loved it. And then we moved to the suburbs a few years ago, and we just sold the house recently, and I wanted to do an overnight in the house one last time, a little retreat, and I couldn't believe how loud it was down there. I couldn't, the neighbors, and because the neighbors were so close, and And so what had happened in my time of living there is that the noise, I just tuned it out and it let it slip into the background, that had actually appeared relatively quiet for me. So we can develop that same skill with our inner chatter, that insecure thinking. And if we know that it's just the insecure thinking of our subconscious and we don't have to listen to it, then we can really practice more and more letting it slip into the background. It's that's sort of like what I see as masters of all the ages that have innovated and created extraordinary things. They somehow intuitively got that. They had that internal chatter too, but they somehow intuitively got that's not the thing to focus on, and that's not the thing to listen to, and develop that skill of just letting it slip into the background and just really kind of ignoring it, just like, oh yeah, let it slip into the background. The more you do this, the quicker it slips into the background, and the less and less time we give that chatter. It's that chatter that, if we'll let it slip into the background, will keep our mind relatively calm, and that insight can get in. So that's the first skill, is to work on chatter going into the background. The second skill is to maintain focus on a problem until it is completed, until it is solved or the problem is taken out of your hands to solve. Michael Neill shared, I was watching a coaching session that he did over the weekend, and he shared this analogy that I really like. It was an analogy from a Val Kilmer movie that I haven't seen, but as he explained what was going on, I got it. So I want to share it here. It was about a laser. There was some big, huge laser that had to be focused in a certain direction for a while, and it needed to charge up by bouncing across all of these mirrors. And after it charged up for a certain amount of time, then the laser could go off. And he was sharing that our minds are kind of like this, and I see it to be this way as well, is if we will focus on a problem and keep our mind aiming in that direction long enough, insights will occur relevant to that problem. Now here's the thing, that you've got to keep your mind focused in that direction through that fertile void, through that emptiness. And so this is, that invitation that I've offered all of you to develop that practice where you can, let your mind settle. This is one of the ways that I do it on my walks. When I go for a walk, I have a problem in the back of my mind. The intention of this walk is to solve this problem. But the first half of the walk, I'm going into the fertile void. I'm really focusing on emptying my mind. I'm looking at nature. I'm looking at the trees and the flowers, and just letting my mind start to clear. And then by the time I do the loop and I get back home, something occurs to me about that problem. And so that's the skill, is to keep your mind focused through the fertile void on a problem at hand until the solution occurs to you. That's the second skill to develop. The third one is really, it's the first invitation that they gave to you in this boot camp here, which is to develop a greater intimacy and a greater intimate relationship with your inner knowing. And as you do that, you'll really be able to distinguish what's the voice of the insecure thinking and the voice of your knowing. They have a very different flavor. And for me, in developing that relationship, it occurred as I started taking these walks. I just noticed on these walks, things would start to occur to me. Once I started to notice that, then I set an intention for these walks to deliberately let my knowing speak to me. Now, my walks are a practice in which the intention is to deepen my relationship and my intimacy with my inner knowing. Today, I don't make any big decisions in my business or life without a walk. I notice that in my busyness with kids and a lot of things going on, I don't trust it as much as when I go for a walk and my mind is clear and I can feel from the clear mind and the clear body a knowing, an insight land to me through the fabric of knowing. And that is, there's just no doubt, there's no insecure thinking around that. And it has a greater power to that insight. When I get an idea that comes from my insecure thinking, and that happens lots of times, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't act on those. I got to get the bills paid. I got to make sure pick up my daughter on time. I got to make sure that I got to get that thing that I committed to, or get the taxes paid. All of those are kind of like fear-based, worry-based insights and ideas. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't act on those things. It's just when I have innovative ideas that are coming from insecure thinking about what to do for my business. Oh, I should probably get this digital product out so I can get more leads, so I can make more money, and all of that insecure worries. When I'm innovating in my business from that place, I usually create a lot of busyness that it doesn't have usually is not very profitable. Conversely, when I have an insight to innovate in my business through my knowing, it's usually just, oh, this occurs to me. This would be really fun. I have a lot of energy around this. That would be exciting to do. And in that energy, it's really easy. And ironically, when I take action on those things, those just have a tendency to be very successful and very profitable. And so that is, the invitation. That's the third skill to really develop, is to deepen your relationship with your knowing, so that you just know the difference of where insights and ideas are coming. Is it coming from my insecure thinking, or is it coming from my knowing? And then you have more discernment on what to take action on, what to proceed with, and maybe what to pause with. And the space that you create in the pause will create more insight for your knowing to move you forward in the direction that you really want to go. As you practice developing these 3 skills, I guarantee you're going to start approaching challenges in your business differently. You're going to get a little excited about them. You're going to experience challenges with creating your next client a little bit differently. You'll get a little bit excited about it. And the more that you have experience with letting your knowing inform you of your next right step, you're going to develop an inner confidence unlike any you have ever known. And so I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you to take on this practice. And again, I invite you to stand up, maybe even stomp your feet, throw your 4-year-old tantrum, demand for your next client to show up today. And a little caveat here, when you're doing your enrollment calls, be a demand for it, but maintain that sophisticated position where in that conversation, you're a demand for your client showing up today, but you're completely unattached to it being the person that you're having a conversation with, so that you can really guide them from a authentic place and really help them navigate through their waters of uncertainty without your stuff getting in the way for them. All right. Happy creating. Namaste. Talk soon.